Through ups and downs, Marvel's iconic heroes have come a long way ever since they first graced the comic book page. Of course, one prime example of the success and impact of the House of Ideas can be found in none other than their resident raging green Goliath, the Incredible Hulk. From movies to TV shows to uber-detailed collectibles and even sippy cups, Marvel's gamma radiation-powered bruiser has indeed become a mainstay in pop culture. In today's video, we're gonna take a trip all the way back to the swinging 60s to take a look at how it all started for good old Jade Jaws. As always, we're gonna love you forever if you give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. It's gonna help us out a lot, so please don't hesitate to join our growing pop culture loving community, only here at KRTV Marvel. Before we dive right into it, here's a bit of background for the story we're about to tell you. It's the early 60s. Wounds from World War II are still fresh, and the Cold War between the East and the West are in full swing. It's a time of nuclear paranoia, and the world is a place where women are women, and men are sexist. So, you're gonna have to keep all that in mind before we go ahead and tell you about the first ever Hulk tale as only the King of Comics, Jack Kirby, and the King of Cameos, Stan Lee, can deliver. It was a different time after all. Now, let's get right into it. Somewhere in the American desert, a military bomb test is about to commence. It's the first ever gamma bomb invented, and it's the brainchild of one genius atomic physicist and missile expert named Dr. Bruce Banner. In a bunker miles away, he and his fellow scientists prepare to launch the G-bomb. Igor, a colleague of Bruce, protests that proceeding with the test is a bad idea because he hasn't checked Dr. Banner's notes. He demands Bruce to show him his files about gamma radiation, but the inventor of the G-bomb shoos him away, telling the whiny scientist that it's private and that he doesn't make any mistakes in his calculations. Moments later, General Thunderbolt Ross and his daughter Betty arrive at the bunker. The military man is furious that it's taking too long to start the test, while Betty calms him down. Dr. Bruce Banner then proceeds to start the countdown that will ultimately launch the G-bomb. But as soon as it begins, he spots a teenage boy hanging right by Ground Zero. Dr. Banner rushes to the boy right after telling Igor to stop the countdown, but his jealous colleague has other, more sinister plans. Bruce pulls the stupid kid away from Ground Zero and they start hoofing it towards the bunker. They make it a few miles away and he manages to shield the boy from the blast, but Dr. Banner gets exposed to the gamma radiation emitted by the bomb after it hits. He falls unconscious and wakes up inside the military base's quarantine zone. There, the boy realizes the error of his ways. He introduces himself as Rick Jones and pledges to be Dr. Banner's right-hand man from then on. Bruce, however, has started to become increasingly paranoid. He starts to question his survival. The amount of gamma rays his body absorbed should have been enough to kill him, yet here he is. Night falls and suddenly, Bruce's head starts to throb and his body starts to transform into a huge, gray giant of a man monster. Just so you know, the Hulk started as a gray-skinned character, but due to printing problems during the time, Marvel ultimately switched to turning him into the green Goliath we all know and love today. The creature that was once Bruce Banner knocks down the wall and charges right out. Soldiers spot him, who try to run him over with their Jeep, but the monster easily blocks the vehicle with his shoulder before flipping it over. Rick then follows the creature as it makes its way across the desert. The creature hides among the rocks as soldiers search for him deep in the night. One of them says, "Fan out, men, we've got to find that Hulk." And a legend is born. Hulk's mind is clouded. He knows that he is not Bruce Banner. Still, Banner's thoughts invade the gray Goliath's mind. He remembers he has to get back to his home and Rick keeps on following him. Reaching it, the Hulk finds Igor rummaging through his belongings to locate Bruce's notes on gamma radiation. The Hulk brings the beatdown on him, easily crushing his pistol and knocking the intruder out by throwing him on a table. Rick calls the military police to capture Igor, and he and the Hulk discover Banner's notes taped at the base of one of his beakers. The creature has no memory of who this Dr. Banner is, and he lashes out. It's almost sunrise though, and Hulk can feel himself turning back to Bruce. The military police, along with Betty Ross, arrive to arrest Igor. They suspect Dr. Banner has something to do with the creature known as the Hulk, but Rick intervenes and successfully veers the attention away from the atomic physicist. With the military police gone, Betty checks in on Bruce. He reassures her that he's going to be alright before she takes her leave. Rick and Bruce then suss out what exactly happened to the doctor, and Bruce concludes that when night comes again, so will the Hulk. Sometime later, Igor is held inside a military prison. It's revealed that he's been a communist spy all along. Using a shortwave transistor embedded in his thumbnail, he sends a message to the rest of his colleagues in Russia. Back in the Kremlin, the communists call on their secret weapon, a deformed scientist only known as the Gargoyle. The Gargoyle discovers Hulk's existence and orders his men to launch him inside a rocket that will land at the same military testing area where the Hulk first appeared. Somewhere else, Bruce and Rick are driving through the military base's outskirts. The sun sets and Bruce can't help but transform yet again into the Hulk. Having just transformed, the man monster only has one thing in its mind: to go to Betty Ross. Rick tries to stop him, but he can't do much against the gray giant. They reach Betty and she passes out while she sees the Hulk. Their reunion is interrupted though, when the Gargoyle reveals himself and shoots both Hulk and Rick with a mind control gun. The deformed Russian scientist then takes the two away, on board a rocket ship headed for the Kremlin. During the trip, Hulk transforms back into Bruce Banner. When they get to Russia, the Gargoyle figures out that Banner and Hulk are one and the same. In an unprecedented twist of humanity, the Gargoyle starts to cry and curse his own fate. He asks Banner why he would choose to carry on living as a monster like him. When Bruce and Rick hear this, they take pity on the Russian villain and decide to help him. Bruce tells the Gargoyle that he can use his knowledge of gamma radiation to return the Gargoyle into his ordinary human form, but he'll no longer be a genius after the procedure. The Gargoyle chooses to be human again, so he agrees to go along with Bruce's plan. In exchange, he'll help him and Rick go back to the United States. The procedure is successful, and the Gargoyle reveals that he, too, was a victim. He curses the picture of a man who's clearly Khrushchev, who was the one responsible for turning him into the Gargoyle in the first place. True to his word, the now reformed Gargoyle helps Bruce Banner and Rick Jones board a rocket ship that will take them to America. The communists get wind that they've captured the US's greatest expert in gamma radiation though, so they head over to the Gargoyle's lab to take Bruce into their custody. The Russians are too late though, because all they find inside the lab is the man once known as the Gargoyle holding a self-destruct switch that will have the entire building crumbling down. He chooses to die as a man rather than continue living on as a monster for the commies, so he presses the trigger. Aboard the rocket ship, Rick and Bruce witness the mushroom cloud from the lab's explosion. Bruce realizes that the Gargoyle is gone, but maybe, just maybe, this will also be the end of the Red Menace. What do you think of Hulk's first ever adventure? Got any other historic superhero stories you want us to cover next? Let us know in the comments section below. And please don't forget to Hulk smash that like and subscribe button for more of the best pop culture content, only here at KRTV Marvel.